Zu jeder Burg gehört ein großer Kühlschrank. Wir haben dieses Loch unweit der alten Anlage entdeckt und sind natürlich hineingekrabbelt. Wir haben ein Loch erwartet, doch was wir hier tatsächlich fanden, seht ihr jetzt. Ähnliche Anlagen gibt es in den großen Burgen am Rhein auch. Dort wurden sie als Kühlschränke genutzt. Der größte Kühlschrank steht am Rhein in einer alten Burg, in einer der größten Burgen am Rhein. Forscht gerne ein wenig nach, erlebt euer Abenteuer und findet heraus, wie sie heißt. Ein weiterer Raum in diesem Gewölbe. Hier jedoch zugeschüttet, mit Erde verfüllt. Es muss hier also einen zweiten Eingang gegeben haben, doch wo genau der ist, lässt sich leider heute nicht mehr nachvollziehen. Auch dieses Loch führt ins Nichts. Hier ist Schluss. Aber man sieht die Wurzeln der angrenzenden, umliegenden Bäume. Einen eigenen Kamin bzw. Luftabzug hatte das Ding übrigens auch. Nämlich hier genau über uns. Ja, früher wusste man noch zu bauen. Ganz ehrlich. Heutzutage braucht man für einen Flughafen 20 Jahre. Und hier geht es wieder hinaus.
So now that we are inside the castle walls, you maybe want to talk about some things you are trying. Are you trying to change anything here in particular, or you want to leave it that way as it is?
No, other than rearranging some furniture, there's not much that needs to be done here. What you're looking at right now is and of course, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. But that is the Schwarzenberg, which is part of the rock mountain that the entire Burg was built upon. It's pretty massive, and you see pieces of it throughout the Burg.
So this entire castle is built upon a rock, and that rock is sometimes seen throughout the castle walls.
Correct.
Okay.
And you will see it clearly underneath the Oberburg, because the Oberburg, where it sits on the rock, it's very prominent, it's very easy to see. Whereas here in the Unterburg, it pops out. This is the largest piece, but there are areas throughout the castle where you see the rock protruding, and the walls were built around it.
You have a good feeling seeing that it hasn't changed that much. They're actually living in something that's this historic, that old, that just is with time.
Yeah, so, over the years I've met people, primarily individuals who have a love of history, and they are drawn to historic buildings, and the feeling of what one gentleman referred to, he could feel the ages when he was inside some of these places. So, yeah, it's different, I'll say that much.
It's definitely different from a day-to-day household, yeah. That's for sure. That's a very, that's like heartbreaking to hear that some people actually have so little respect for something that important to history itself. This is part of history, and he, like what I understand from that, actually took things out of this place, put them in his trailer, and left the place completely in ruins.
Well, yeah, that's actually exactly what the gentleman did. He took what he wanted and he left the junk here. So it took us, we were here 10 weeks, every day, just moving his junk, the junk that he left out, hired a couple of, or rented, I should say, a couple of dumpsters and filled them up with the junk and was taken away.
Like what I wanted to ask, like what I just said, the climate, 2-meter thick walls, winter, summer, fall, and autumn.
So it's always chilly, if not cold, here inside. Which is fine in July and August if it's 30 grad outside, 30 degrees outside. It's a nice, comfortably 20 inside.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, when it's 0 outside, it is 0 inside. So we have found like many old buildings throughout Europe, during the winter in particular. The areas that we live in have it, occupy, work in, wherever we will heat, and the rest of the castle will simply stay cold. So here in the office, if I come down here to work, I'll plug in the electric heater, close the 2 doors, and it's fine. Takes a little while to warm up, but it's okay.
But if it's warm, then it stays warm, probably.
Yeah, well, it'll stay relatively warm if the doors are closed.
Some of those windows are probably very old.
To be honest, no. Most of the windows date from the 1960s.
Oh, okay. Then there's probably no problem with the authorities.
Right. When I spoke with Denkmalschutz, there really wasn't a problem with the windows. Other than that, what they said was that the window frame must be wood, or at least the outer window frame must be wood. I'm like, that's fine. That's not a problem.
You said you wanted to have this place like passed down generations of your own family, like your blood. What if that someday may not be possible anymore?
So the plan would be to pass it down and keep it within the family. That would be ideal, I think.
Of course.
If that's not possible, then that would have to be a decision made by, those generations that come after me. And I really can't speak to a decision to be made 20 years from now or 200 years now. I just can't. All this furniture was out there, and that desk was here, because this was going to be my office. My wife says, let's move the bedroom and the office. I'm like, okay, honey. So this was easy because this comes apart. Okay. The tough part was the desk. It's one piece. It's 120 kilos. So between my wife and I, it's one piece.
So we were talking about passing it down the generation. The previous person that lived in here may do the same thing again with leaving it in ruins again, because that would be pretty sad.
It would be sad. At the very least, it would be sad. So I have a philosophy. My philosophy is always leave a place better, always leave a situation better than the way you found it.
That's a great philosophy to have.
Well, so if everyone who comes after me could keep to that, slowly but surely, the entire burg could be rebuilt and used by the public. People interested in coming here, open it up, and simply let people, enjoy some time here. There are lots of Burgen und Schlossen here in Deutschland, but there aren't that many. Okay, so to the degree that we can make that happen, I think it would be best in the interest of society to allow people to come and enjoy these these kinds of locations.
If it is not able to get down the bloodline, that some other people throughout the generation may keep your philosophy and try to renew or make over the castle to that it's just build up again. But me being one of the persons from the newer generations, I can already say, and for at least this one, that it's very unlikely that some person would have the will to do something like that, because most people just don't care for things like that anymore, as sad as it is.
Well, so it's sad that and a lady who walked by here a year or so ago with a group of friends, all older German ladies. We were talking, their English was very good. And she pointed out that it's unusual that an American comes in to fix a burg in Germany, whereas the local
society, I would say,
or local government or local society never stepped in to say, hey, let's purchase the place, let's fix it, let's use it for the public good. So, and I know local politicians come up with many reasons why that can't be done. Okay, but let me tell you, one of the poorest areas along the Mexican-American border is a place called San Isidro. Heavily Mexican or Mexican-American. But the local community wanted to improve the school system. Good on them. So they brought up, they had an idea to raise, I think it was 1 penny of the local sales tax in order to raise, I believe it was $2 billion. Now, over 20 years. It was a long-term plan. You're looking at people whose average interest or average salary is $1,000, $1,200 a month. These are not rich people. These are not, they're good people, a lot of them, but they're not wealthy. But they figured out how to push through, going through all the political wickets and jumping through hoops for something that had never been done, to raise a tax just to fund schools over 20 years, and it was $2 billion. And you think $2 billion for a district as poor as San Isidro? I find it difficult to believe if they can do it,
we can't.
I didn't want to say that exactly, but yes.
But it's true.
But it's true.
So now I want to say thank you for having us today, for sharing information throughout the interview, and just telling us all the facts that are allowed to be shown due to privacy reasons.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing interest in Burg Hermenstein. I appreciate your interest. I hope this will generate interest, and it would be fantastic if it generated sponsorship so we can work together as a community on rebuilding this place.